Hey everybody, Jeremy Siskind here. I'm the author of 2 books of solo standards for piano, the book Playing Solo Jazz Piano, and the 3-part Jazz Piano Fundamentals series. And today, I'm doing something a little unusual for the channel, which is we're going to do some listening together. I'll tell you a behind-the-scenes secret. One of the reasons why we don't do a lot of this is because YouTube flags it as using copyrighted material, which it is, and then they don't allow an artist to monetize, which is totally fair. But one of my students said that this was one of the most impactful lessons that I gave during my class, so I thought it would be great to share it here. And I do have a Buy Me a Coffee link, so if you'd like to make up for the monetization I lost, just keep in mind I make anywhere from $12,000 to $18,000 per YouTube video. It's a joke. It's probably realistically it's like $20 to $25 per YouTube video, but they live on forever. So, all right, here's what we're going to be talking about today. Pianists have less opportunities for expression with just playing a melody than other instruments, right? If you think about a saxophonist, a trumpet player, they have vibrato, they can crescendo after hitting a note. They can do a lot more with their tone. Of course, we have some different sounds and different tones we can play with here, but not like a saxophonist who has a signature sound. And so one of the things that we can do that those people can't do to make up for that is that we can change voicings and change pianistic approaches. And that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to listen to Bill Evans play the head of Beautiful Love, and I'm going to show you some of the things that he's doing. I don't have perfect ears. I'm going to do my best. Reasonable people could probably disagree about the best way to say some of these things. All right, there's my disclaimer. But I want to pick it apart and show you how often he's changing pianistic approaches, and I'll show you some of the voicings that I hear him using as well. So first, we're going to listen to the entire track. This is Beautiful Love. If you have the modern version of Explorations, it has multiple takes. This one's marked take 2. Yes, and I should say it's off of the album Explorations. Here we go. All right, so good. So now we're going to go back through and I want to look at some of the techniques that he's using. And so let me define a few terms before we delve too deeply into it. So first term is locked hands. Locked hands means that the two hands are playing together. And this could mean a wide variety of things, but what I'm going to mainly use it to mean is that the left hand's repeating a voicing, and then the right hand is playing the melody. Have a snare on. I'm going to pause the video for just a second and come back. All right, I have a rehearsal later today, so the drum set's all out. All right, so that locked hands demonstration again. Do you see my left hand's just repeating to thicken up the voicing? Second term we're going to be using is closed position voicing. And so closed position refers to a type of voicing where there is an octave between the top and bottom note, usually 5 notes total, including the 2 outside notes. If you want to see it here, you can see there's an octave between these 2 top notes, and the 2 hands are moving together. Now that's closely related to drop 2 voicings, another term we're going to use. And in drop 2 voicings, it's a 4-note voicing where there's usually about a 10th between the top and bottom note. So there's a 10th, a third plus an octave. he's going to use drop two voicings in some really creative ways, some somewhat unusual ways, actually. There's a lot more information about these voicing types and other videos that I can link you to, as well as these voicing types appear in this purple book, Jazz Piano Fundamentals book 2. Okay, so now we're going to go back to the beginning, and I want to break down for you a little bit of what's going on. I'm going to use this camera angle, so you're not going to see my face. My sincere apologies, but I think it'll be more valuable. All right, so first 4 bars here. First of all, he's playing the octave up, the melody, an octave up. Very not literal version of the melody, right? He starts the first 4 notes, but then he really doesn't play the rest of the melody. He's playing 4-note voicings in the left hand. One thing to note about those voicings, there's a big debate in a lot of jazz piano circles about best practices for half diminished chords regarding the ninth. But Bill Evans uses an F sharp here for the ninth, resolves it to the F natural, which becomes the sharp 5, or I would say flat 13 of the A7. And that's part of how he's getting the sound. Now, he loves on this D minor chord, he's using a shape that he repeats a lot of times in this recording in the solos, which is B flat, A, F, D. Is this like some Twilight Zone? But I hear him quite a lot using that minor triad plus the flat 6 in there. So something to watch out for. Okay, let's see what happens next. Okay, so he plays the melody in thirds. Already kind of an interesting, a different texture on the melody. And then I hear the last 2 notes that he plays as closed position voicings. So a couple new devices here. Now check out what happens next. So he does, it was a little hard to hear, it came in suddenly, but he does locked hands for the pickup. We're here now. Let me make sure, yeah. And then he does drop 2. So he's doing thirds here, locked hands, closed position. And then he does drop 2 voicings. And he's doing something interesting with drop 2, which is that he's putting in an extra passing tone in the left hand that he's not putting in the right hand. Slightly unusual. I'm going to rewind a little bit so you can hear some of these things one more time. Let's just go from the beginning. What the heck? Cool. And he goes back. It sounds like, well, all right, we're going to leave this. So here he's doing drop 2 again, and he's doing this interesting repeated theme in the left hand. So again, he's not exactly matching the right hand rhythm with the left hand, which is what we would usually expect. He's repeating the left hand note twice for every right hand note. I'm going to rewind so you can hear that one more time. I apologize, that's not what he's doing. He's delaying the left hand. I said totally the wrong thing. Shame on me. This is a delay here. Okay. Cool. And then he goes back to just playing a single note melody. And if I had to characterize his comping here, I would characterize it as call and response comping, meaning that he's not playing the 2 hands simultaneously. He's kind of waiting for the right hand note and then responding to it with the left hand. Now here's everybody's favorite part of the recording coming up, so enjoy this. It's so beautiful. All right, right, so now he's playing, and I'll use blue for the second time. The second time he's playing triads. And I haven't transcribed this exactly. You know, something like that. Let's listen to it one more time because it's just so beautiful, so good. So it's a little complicated to say, like, is there one theory concept that he's doing here? Not necessarily, but one of the most important things that he's doing is he's going into the upper structures of that A7. And so some of the chords he's playing over the A7 are, for instance, F triad, which is an upper structure that has the flat 13th and the sharp 9. And then he goes to an F sharp triad, which has the 13th, the flat 9th, and the 3rd. Back to the F, back to F sharp, back to F, and then to E flat, which is a upper structure that has the flat 5 or sharp 11 and the flat 9. And he's doing this kind of Phrygian motion, E flat major sagging to D minor. So it's something. I'll show it to you in slow motion because I'm sure this is the part everyone's going to be most interested in. Something like that. All triads. But my biggest point here is that basically every 4 bars, or even more quickly than that, he's changing his pianistic approach. Here we go, taking it from there. So that was a little mix of things, but I hear actually mostly closed position in there. I think there are some other things going on, and you might hear that he harmonizes a little A flat minor 7 here, leading to like a G minor, C7 here. So there's a cool substitution. We call that a side step when you put in a chord a half step above. All right, here we go. Let me rewind a little bit so we can hear those pickups, because he's always doing something interesting on those pickups. Okay, so here's where he does the repeated notes. I always think of it as like a ball bouncing twice. Something like that. All right. Okay, so there's drop 2 again, and here he's repeating the delay. And at the end, it's a little hard to tell whether he's doing locked hands or whether there's some elements of closed position and drop 2. But one thing that I hope you take away from it is that all 3 of those concepts, locked hands, drop 2, closed position, are actually, you know, they sound pretty similar, especially if you're playing in a lower register. Your voicing is going to be pretty close to how you would play it in your voicing you'd play for locked hands is going to be pretty close to your closed position voicing. So let me show you what I mean. I'm going to play the opening 4 bars with locked hands. Closed position. Drop 2. All 3 do sound different, but they're not that different. And I could do, for instance, the pickup with drop 2, go into locked hands, go into closed position. Like, they all kind of can fit together. All right, folks. I hope you learned something here. I hope you enjoyed that. Most of the concepts that we talked about here, oops, sorry about that. Hopefully that wasn't like wildly loud, are in Jazz Piano Fundamentals Book 2. And this is one of the guided listening sections, offerings in Jazz Piano Fundamentals Book 2. So if you want to dig even deeper into this track, you can do so there. Remember, you can buy me a coffee if you want to help me make up the loss to my income. But I hope that you enjoyed this. I love talking about great recordings. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you've watched this far, why don't you quote me the amount that I should make per YouTube video in the comments? All right, everybody. Bye-bye.